When I drew nigh the nameless city, I knew it was accursed. I was traveling in a parched and terrible valley under the moon, and afar I saw it protruding uncannily above the sands, as parts of a corpse may protrude from an ill-made grave. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and gender non-conforming people. My name is Andrew Carr, and welcome back to the Carr-Quest of H.P. Lovecraft. And today, we will be discussing the story, The Nameless City. Now, The Nameless City, as we'll see on the back here, death lies beneath the shifting sands, in a story linking the dream cycle with the legendary Cthulhu mythos. I guess it kind of does that. Let's get into more details. So, the Nameless City pretty much follows the main character, who is exploring the Arabian desert and comes across the titular Nameless City, and he sort of excavates around there, but soon enough he starts finding temples with ceilings too low for humans to use, and he starts coming across various other bizarre sights and stuff beneath one of the temples of the Nameless City. So, I actually kind of like this one, as I usually do. Again, I'm not really sure about the whole Cthulhu mythos stuff. I guess because it does reference, excuse me just a moment, it does actually reference this couplet here. That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons even death may die. Which is quoted in the H.P. Lovecraft universe, as coming from Abdul al-Hazred, or he's the purported writer of the Necronomicon. And the Necronomicon kind of played into some of the other H.P. Lovecraft stories, the Necronomicon being a Lovecraft creation and having life in other media. But, yeah, so it does kind of tie in with the rest of the H.P. Lovecraft universe and the Cthulhu mythos in that sense. Oh, there's actually, a reference in this story that I wanted to point out, because, hold on, let me, find it real quick. Here it is. I saw that the city had been mighty indeed, and wondered at the sources of its greatness. To myself I pictured all the splendors of an age so distant that Chaldea could not recall it, and thought of Sarnath the Doomed, that stood in the land of Minar when mankind was young, and of Ib, that was carven of grey stone before mankind existed. That's the doom that came to Sarnath, people. That's a direct reference to the doom that came to Sarnath, which, if you remember, my friend Knight and I reviewed much earlier this season. So I thought that was actually kind of a cool little reference, sort of tying back to another sort of major part of the dream cycle. So yeah, doom that came to Sarnath was referenced directly in here. The story, actually, funny enough, while reading the story, I remember the second episode of the first season, The Picture in the House. I may have referenced that, I think I did actually reference, going on trips with my dad to sort of ruins or older places or parks kind of like that. Got a lot of vibes very early on, very similar to that in this story. There's a lot of excavation early on. There's a lot of sort of tracing the outlines of the city, the buildings and the temples, and finding things and sort of looking around ruins. And I was kind of like, yeah, I can kind of see why my dad really likes sort of exploring ruins, not just in real life, but also in like video games. So that's why he's a big fan of Fallout and that kind of thing, because he really likes exploring ruins and that kind of stuff. And I can see why in this story, among a couple others, why that would appeal to him. So that's a cool little touch. as for the story itself, I liked it. I do like how it starts because it starts kind of like a regular sort of ghost story. It's like, oh, there's the people who say never to go to the Nameless City, and that's what they also call it throughout the story. They call it the Nameless City, Nameless City, Nameless City. Um, and there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff with sand and sandstorms, sort of around the area, and I think above the area of the Nameless City. And but he always kind of writes it off as like, oh, natural phenomena sort of dispels fear. So that's why he kind of keeps going back, even though at the beginning of the story, when he first sees the Nameless City, he stops dead in his tracks before even going down there with his camel. So maybe bad signs from the beginning, but as we know, in an H.P. Lovecraft story, when you're drawn to something, you're gonna figure it out until you find something that eventually drives you insane, and you have seen things that no other man has seen. So, having read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stories up to this point, this is also a really good one. Apparently, according to the little bit of research I did, Lovecraft named this as one of his favorites. And I can see why. I think there's definitely a lot more detail in his stories. I will say towards the end, it was really kind of losing me, because it's again with H.P. Lovecraft's use of language in his prose, his use of very almost kind of archaic language to sort of describe different things. It did kind of pull me out of the story near the end, but I do really like the build up to the end. I won't go into detail, but I will say that it is that the atmosphere, as in a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stories, the atmosphere is very, very good. So apart from that, that's kind of really it for this story particularly. Yeah, so if I were to rank, it feels weird sort of pretty much bringing up all the things I wanted to talk about it. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Not really, no. There's more kind of reference to like dreams, which again, it's the dream cycle, so yeah, so we're probably accustomed to that by now. But yeah, so I do like the Nameless City. If I were to rank the Nameless City, I would give it an A, probably. So, anyways, the next story in our Carr-Quest is a shorter one, if I'm not, yeah, it's only 4 pages, known as The Other Gods. So until then, ladies, gentlemen, and gender non-conforming people, my name is Andrew Carr. This has been the Carr-Quest of H.P. Lovecraft, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye-bye.